It's a new edition of KSR's Monday Happy Hour presented by our friends at Country Boy Brewing. Tyler, I noticed you're not decked out with the t-shirt and hat this week, but we're
Yeah.
still happy to be powered by Country Boy. Oh, nice. We're halfway home. I got a little Key West myself. Show off the
Nice.
nice. Look at that branded
Ooh.
glassware there. But yeah, you know the
Double
Monday routine by now. It is the June 23rd edition of our happy hour. If you are new to us, this is what we do at 4 o'clock on Mondays. We gather whoever's around KentuckySportsRadio.com and we go live on our YouTube channel for about an hour to hit all the big news stories from the weekend, any news that popped up on Monday, what's ahead for the week, what we have going on. We've had a lot of fun doing this so far. And this week, I, Drew Franklin, am joined by Tyler Thompson, Adam Luckett, who will talk a little football. Surprisingly busy time for football in the middle of June. And our good friend Zach, who spent some time at the Joe Kraft facility earlier today. First of all, I'll start with you, Tyler. Do you all have the heat that we have up here in Lexington and Louisville? Because I'm enjoying being inside today for this happy hour.
Yeah, it's even worse down here in Nashville. I think it's like a heat index of 105 or something. I mean, it's bad when you walk outside in the morning and it's already in the 80s and feels disgusting. Yeah, it's pretty miserable, but that's why I'm inside with the AC cranked up so much. I have to wear like my cardigan that I have in my office, and I've got a cold Country Boy, so I'm happy.
I'm rocking espresso and Country Boy combo, little upper and downer on a Monday at 4 o'clock. Lucky, you spent some time outside. That's actually one of our topics later, so we won't get into that yet. But did you have a good weekend?
I did. I had a very, very nice weekend. Nice June weekend before this big heat wave really rolled in. I feel like Saturday, Sunday here in Jefferson, Bullitt County area. So yeah, I had a nice weekend. Got to enjoy some beers on the deck, Drew, which I'm sure we'll get into later.
Yeah, I think I see that on our sidebar there, but it's good to have you. I don't think we've had you on here on the happy hour in a while. And Zach, I'm going to start with you. Who cares about your weekend? Because you've already had a big Monday. I'm guessing, did you just get home from the Joe Kraft training facility?
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago. I'm in the process of trying to upload Denzel Aberdeen. We have 25 minutes of Denzel Aberdeen and 25 minutes of Mo Diabate coming to the KSR YouTube very, very soon. So it rained for about 45 minutes today, and in that 45 minutes was my walk from my house to Memorial. So my pants were navy blue already, but they went from just the regular navy blue to like a dark, deep blue by the time I was in there. I was soaked. My entire pants were done. But in between all that, yeah, we got to chit chat with a couple of the newest cats, and it's fun talking to guys that have been like at SEC schools for multiple years because they know how to talk to media people. They don't, they're not going to give you one word answers or anything. So, but I only talked with Denzel for a little. I was only there with Denzel while Jack and Steven were talking to Mo. So Steven might be able to pitch in on some of the stuff that Mo Diabate said, but Denzel was awesome. I know everyone's curious what his actual vertical is from that picture that we saw. He said he's a 42-inch vertical, which is, I think that's good. That's over 40.
That seems
good,
high.
right?
Not impressed. If you're not 45, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, the Michael Jordan infamous, his is what, 48 rumored supposedly. So Denzel was awesome. Talked a lot about just how I was trying to get him to take us through the recruiting process of how Pope brought him to Kentucky. And he was basically like, we had a 3-hour FaceTime call that was literally just Pope, telling his whole life story, figuring out Denzel's life story, doing film work, stuff like that. And after that 3 hours was up, Denzel was like, yep, okay, I'm going to Kentucky. He said there was a handful of other schools. He didn't mention them that, he was considering as well. But once that big conversation with Pope happened, he was pretty much done. He was locked up, ready to go. He talked about a bunch of stuff. He talked about how he's excited to play with Ortega and Jalen Lowe. Kind of some of the leadership stuff he learned from Walter Clayton Jr., who's about to be a first-round draft pick here in a couple of days. Why he came to Kentucky, just kind of the differences in the actual program at Florida. He thinks that he's going to be able. His explanation was Kentucky will suit his skills a little bit better in terms of how they want to play offense and defense. I'll have to get more into the weeds of, I guess, what he's actually talking about when I go listen to all his stuff and look at some more film and everything. But he was great to talk to. BBN's going to love him. He's been in awe at how often people are just like coming up to him on the street and like recognizing him and knowing who he is, because even in a place like Florida, I guess that just didn't happen as often. So really cool to hear from all these new cats, and I'm excited to hear what Mo Diabate had to say as well, because he's quickly becoming like the talk of legend around these places with just how big he is and everything. So go into the KSR YouTube in about an hour. You'll find all this over there.
Mark Pope in the FaceTiming, Tyler. He loves it. I hate FaceTiming. Even this Zoom. I love you all. Live streaming's a little uncomfortable. Feels weird to me.
3 hours is a long time on one FaceTime.
Why does Mark Pope love it so much?
It's a beautiful messaging tool.
Extraordinary.
Just imagine being on the phone with someone for that long. And then you amp it up with a FaceTime. Like, okay, we're 4 years post-pandemic, and I'm still trying not to look at myself in like Zooms and StreamYards, like to be paranoid about how I look. Like, I can only imagine.
I'm looking at myself while I'm talking.
So weird.
I can't
I think you're supposed to look at like this green dot on your computer.
No, I can't do that. I have to look at myself so I know that I'm here, present.
There you go.
But I mean, Pope for 3 hours on a FaceTime. Like FaceTime, I just hate in general. But I mean, he must be really, really good at it, because this isn't the first time we've heard a recruit talk about a really long FaceTime. So maybe one day we'll be on the receiving end of one of those. That would be interesting.
Get him on here.
Yeah.
Zach,
oh my gosh, we should.
Zach, I know you haven't seen much of him other than that interview today, but is Aberdeen kind of carry himself like a national champion? Does he have his chest out a little bit walking around the place?
He does say that Pope brings it up a lot. He says he doesn't have his ring yet. He says he gets that soon. So I guess maybe they've only been fitted for the rings or something, got to show him off, but he doesn't actually have it yet. But it has been brought up in practice a lot. He says not even by himself, just Pope brings it up all the time and talking about his championship and all that stuff. So I don't think Denzel even has to do that himself. Pope's doing it all for him. But Denzel definitely he looks like a guy who's played SEC basketball for 3 years. He kind of acts like that, like just a guy who knows what he's doing.
Did anybody ask about him going to the White House and not doing the Gator chomp? I'd be interested to hear about that.
No, that did not come up, unfortunately.
Oh,
so I would have liked to have known that, actually. Yeah, he would have had a good media trained answer for that.
Yeah.
For the 3 goggles or something.
We'll have to watch your video to find out what Diabate said. He was the other player available today, but we had some Diabate, I guess we can call it scoop-ish, scuttlebutt-ish, from one of our KS board readers that went to satellite camp a few days ago in Russell County, and said he already has, I'm trying to get the exact quote, but he was, our guy was talking about how Diabate is already a leader, and when he speaks, the whole team listens. I love hearing about hearing that. Maybe we'll get to see some of that in that video. Like you said, it just happened, so none of us really know what went down, but we'll find out soon.
Yeah, actually, I want to say I heard something like maybe Denzel said it or some. I want to say that came up in there where Mo has already kind of established himself as like the on-court coach type thing, or leader, if you will. So, but that makes sense coming from a guy like him who's, just like Denzel, been to multiple Elite Eights, so he knows what he's doing.
Last week we had just heard from Trent Noah and Colin Chandler, and we did a round of over-unders. You want to do it again with Aberdeen and Diabate?
Let's do it.
We'll start
I'd like to point out, Matt Jones, he copied all my answers from the last one when you did it on the radio show. I just want to say, so maybe he's listening to the happy hour, taking my advice. If you want your over-under bets, this is the place to be right here.
This is about the time of day when he and Ryan get their naps in, so I don't know if he's watching live, but I bet he did catch wind of your answers. I'm throwing these together on the fly a little bit, but it's a fun game. Luckett, we're going to make you go first before you get ready to talk us into why Kentucky football is good again. Aberdeen, here we go. Last year, he shot 35% from 3. This year, over under 38.5. 3.5 point increase. Will he shoot over or under 38.5%? Adam Luckett, you go first.
I'll say under.
Under for Adam Luckett.
Do you have like the totals pulled up? Like how many attempts and how many makes?
He didn't have a ton of attempts.
Yeah,
I want to say like
70-ish. 1.5 makes the game or something.
Well, then I'm going to go under too, because I think he's going to have a lot more attempts. So I think he might have a lower percentage, but he's going to get a lot of shot volume.
He hit 36 threes on 103 attempts for an even 35%.
I will say he was talking a lot about how catch and shoot threes is a big thing that he's working on this year. So I guess that's going to be something that's going to be baked into his on-court role. I guess is a lot more catch and shoot threes playing next to guys like Jalen Lowe and Otega Owe. So maybe if he really takes that to heart and gets better at it, maybe he can go up to 38.5. But that's a pretty good percentage. So I'll say just slightly under, because he's been at 35 the last couple of years. So if he shoots 35 again and ups his volume a little bit, that's perfectly fine. So I'll go under, but not in a bad sense at all.
All right. Diabate, 29.5 minutes per game.
Mm.
And I'll note that's already on the high end because nobody for Kentucky played 30 a year ago.
Yeah,
So you got to factor in, is Yelovich cleared? You know, how much depth is going to be used at that spot?
When does the whole JQ plane get baked in there? Because obviously he's going to miss some time. How much time does he miss? I think I'll go first here because I'm already talking. I think we're going to see more of kind of how Mark Pope wants to play, which I think is kind of the tempo, playing a lot of guys. We saw it last year, but I think injuries threw a big wrench into kind of his plan. So I'd be surprised if anyone's over 30 a game. So I'll take pretty much under that on pretty much every player. The only player I could maybe go over that is probably Jalen Lowe, because I'm not sure they have another true point guard. But give me under for Diabate, especially that position. I think they're going to have a whole bunch of guys that are going to want to play in the front court.
Yeah, I'll go under too, just because, like Luckett said, there's a big roster, big bench. I do think he's going to play a lot, though. I'm really excited about Diabate because he's kind of what UK didn't have last year. He's the guy who was going to dive after a ball if it's on the floor. He's going to be the first there, rebounding defense. Super excited about him. Steven, you may know this. Does he prefer to go by Mo or Muhammad? Like, because I've been calling him Mo, but I don't want to mess that up. So.
He's obviously fine. He responded to Mo a lot.
Okay.
So I think we're fine calling him that.
His teammates were calling him Mo at the camp at North Laurel.
Didn't seem to correct anyone. So
Perfect.
it was fun talking to him too. He has a lot of good things to say. That video will be on our YouTube channel in the next 9 or 10 minutes. But stay here, watch it after.
Did you get any news from it? Any breaking news, or should we just wait for the video?
Nothing breaking, but he said a lot of good stuff. Jack Pilgrim's working on some stuff from that today, but no breaking news. He did talk to him about how he stopped Otega's double-digit scoring streak and how they talked a little bit of trash. And he did talk a little bit about how the team is a lot of trash talkers, and he thinks that's going to help them bond and come together as a team. So a lot of good stuff from him today.
Nice.
All right, Adam Luckett, over under 8.5 double-doubles for Diabate. He had 7 last year, playing not nearly as many minutes as we expect.
I will say over. I think rebounding-wise, they're going to need him to carry a big load, specifically with, probably double-digit games without Jaden Quainton. So I will say over double-double, over 8.5 double-doubles.
Tyler?
I'll go over 2. I feel like I'm agreeing with everything Adam's saying, but that's with good reason because Adam knows ball, so I'll go over.
And I'm setting bad lines, making it easy on you.
Yeah, I'll say over 2. I think Mo's probably going to end up being the leading rebounder on the team. He'll probably get I also am going under on the minutes as well. I don't think anyone's going to hit 30. You might get Jalen, like Adam said, Jalen Lowe and Otega Owe are probably the only guys that'll get close to like 28 range or something. But I could see Mo getting into that like 20, 22 minutes a game, and he'll probably he won't average a double-double, but I bet he's going to be very close to it. I wouldn't be shocked if he's leading the team in rebounds like 7, 8, 9 a game.
What about 9.5 points for Aberdeen? That'll be my last one, then we'll move on from those 2.
Oh,
That's a tough
That's a good one.
I'll start on that one. I'll say over, just because I think he's going to play enough to get there. But I'm trying to think of where all the points are going to come from, and there's 9 is going to be a lot for him. I'll say right at 10. Just give him that right to the double digits. He'll be one of like 4 or 5 guys that average in double figures, and he'll be right there, probably right at 10.
I'll go under, but I think it also brings up an interesting debate, like who's going to be the primary backup point guard? Is it going to be Aberdeen? Like in my mind, it's Aberdeen, but you could make a good case for Colin Chandler too. So because I'm like mentally having that debate, I'll go with, under for Aberdeen.
One side note, as I was leaving the interviews when we wrapped up with Denzel, I heard Mo talk about, he said Jasper has been the most impressive guy he's seen in practice so far. So maybe some fill-in minutes as the backup one there or wherever Pope decides to fill in Jasper. So, yeah.
We have an underdog prediction from the chat, one of those super chats. Thank you, Westifer Robin, for being so generous to us and adding that Mountain Mamba with over 17 minutes a game is his underdog prediction. Be a lot of minutes for Trent Noah next year.
A lot of minutes.
What did we predict last week?
Something's gone wrong.
Injury would
Something's gone wrong if he's playing.
Some injuries would have happened, I think, if Pride of Harlan County's at 17 plus minutes per game. I will say under on Aberdeen because I think you just kind of, to me, I look at the shot, what I think the shot or field goal attempt distribution. I think Aberdeen's probably going to be fourth among the backcourt in shot attempts. Like Otega, Owe, obviously, Jalen Lowe, and then I think Jasper Johnson will have more shot attempts. And so I just don't know if he's going to get the shot attempts. And I'm not sure Kentucky landed him thinking, we need him to score. I think they probably brought him in more for other reasons, whether it's big backup point guard, defense of flexibility he can provide. I'm not sure they're adding him to carry a big scoring load. So I would go under there, and I would definitely go under on not to rain on Westifer Robbins parade, but definitely would go under 17 minutes per game for Trent Noah.
I think we all went under last week at 10 for Trent. No offense. One more basketball note, not from the interviews, but they put out that video of the summer workouts. Maybe it had already been seen, but I hadn't seen the new, just the wall in the end zone of the Craft Center. I'd seen the parts that's the banners, but they've really given it a makeover in there. I'm not going to change the narrative in the past. I liked how they had the NBA theme when Cal was recruiting NBA guys. I thought the Panini cards looked a little cheap. Could have done a little better done in there, but I didn't mind the NBA twist when Cal was running that kind of operation. But I love the new makeover Pope has given that. That looks really cool in there, especially with the blank one waiting on number 9. I'm sure all of y'all like that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel like it's like
moving it in the other week or last week. I saw him moving all the boards in and stuff when I was going to the Colin Chandler interviews. So that's very recent. They've done all that, I guess. It's
a classier touch too. It was very cluttered with Cal, very colorful with those Panini cards. Kind of felt thrown together. It looks good in there.
It has Mark Pope's fingerprints.
Yeah.
On it.
Leanne Pope too, maybe. She's got a really good eye for design.
So. Yeah, a little interior designing in there.
Yeah, all these Panini shots. I feel like you're taking a dig at Jack's video background because he's got.
No. It looks great in Jack's office. Nothing against Jack's backdrop. Sources say great podcast. You should listen to it. Jack's got one there. That's cool. But I thought Kentucky basketball. We got a pretty big budget, and those just looked like Cal hung some posters up there. And Lucky, you saying Pope's fingerprints are on it. He probably literally got up there on a ladder late at night when everybody had gone home and painted that himself the way.
While on a FaceTime.
That was why it took so long.
He has a FaceTime helmet. The phone just hangs right here. So he can do some work around it, some DIYs around the facility.
Sorry to keep everyone waiting, but let's talk about the sport everyone's most excited about. Kentucky football's on a roll, Adam Luckett. Well, we got 9 commits all this month. It's been a big June. It feels like right when the official visit period started, I think, which is the very beginning of June, we're all saying, why the hell does Kentucky have 1 commitment? Is anyone working over there? What's going on? They were maybe the only Power 4 program at one point that didn't have more than 1 commitment. But up to 9, had a couple this weekend, and it all seemed to come after the Vince Marrow exit. What's been going on over there, Luckett?
Yeah, I think I kind of talked about this on 11 Personnel this week. I think this little commitment avalanche they've had really kind of saved them from the disaster scenario, which would have been like having 3, 4, 5, 6 entering the season. And it's like, are they really only going to have a 13, 14 man signing class? So right now they're with a big group of programs that kind of have 7, 8, 9, 10 commitments. So they're right where they need to be from a volume standpoint. Now, I think you kind of look at some of the guys they've added. It's a lot of projection I think you need for some of them. There's some that I think you could classify as they're taking a big swing on. But overall, they've got some momentum, which is key. They've had none of it really all offseason as a program, whether from the portal or, where people just feel about. There was just no momentum. Now they have some. And then Matt Ponatowski's the big one out there, the quarterback, and they can get him. I think there's really a chance they could have some really good vibes from just a recruiting standpoint. If you miss on him, that would be a big miss at this juncture because he's in the crosshairs for them right now. So that's the big one. I've been asked a lot, Drew, like, is this good? Like, do these two things go together? Does Vince Marrow leaving and then Kentucky all of a sudden having like good things happen on the recruiting trail, those will go hand in hand? I would say not so fast, my friend, to phrase Lee Corso. I think a lot of these just had to do with the calendar. Like they had all these official visits set up. They just had to get these guys on campus so they could close these recruitments. And so they were kind of waiting on that, using that as a big recruiting tool. And I think that's just kind of what has occurred here. But you have seen them use kind of a different strategy. Like Ben Duncombe is a defensive lineman who's announcing on Wednesday. If he commits to Kentucky, that'll be 3 kids from Texas. I think they signed 3 kids from Texas in the last 30 years. So like it's just they're using kind of a different strategy here, and we'll see how it plays out in the long run. But I do think recruiting wise, if they've kind of avoided the disaster scenario, and we'll have to see what the class looks like, I think, when it gets into October, November, December. But as of now, they have some momentum. And if they get Ponatowski, I think you would have to feel pretty good about how far they've come from where they were probably, Derby weekend.
We are casting a wider net when you look at where all these current commits are coming from.
Everyone is from a different state in the class right now. They don't have, other than the 2 kids from Texas, they have a different state represented. And none of those states are Kentucky or Ohio.
Yeah.
I saw Michigan's back on the list. Is that one of the ones we should be excited about, the tight end, Watkins? Also, very maybe you can explain it, but pretty neat getting a tight end just after hiring the new tight ends coach, too. And it looks to be a good one out of a state that's been good to Kentucky.
Right. Lincoln Watkins is from Michigan. He visited Florida. All indications were he was going to commit to Florida. Florida took another tight end, so then he was then his recruitment was back open. Kentucky moved quickly on him. I believe they offered June 13th. He was on campus June 17th, and he committed like June 20th, June 21st. So that one moved quickly, but he's a good-looking player. We've got a film room up at KSR if you want to go watch it. So yeah, he's going to be he's one of their highest-ranked guys right now. If you ask me like who the player most to be excited about, I would say Messiah Tilson, the safety out of Illinois. That was a really good get, and then they've got multiple guys that they're in on that are going to be making decisions over these next couple of weeks, and we'll have multiple this week. Dallas Dickerson is a big one from Georgia,
What a name.
and so
A lot of good names this cycle.
Railed out in Raleigh. Hope he doesn't get tag team in Tennessee.
Drew had some. He was having some fun with that on the message board, as you should on a message board, and so he's a big one this week, along with whenever Ponatowski commits. I was told that it could be a big week for them, recruiting-wise, and so we'll see how it plays out.
You mentioned Tilson. Tyler, it was a week ago. We might have even been finishing the happy hour or had just finished when Tilson committed, and he did the not once but not twice, the triple pump fake move to commit. What did you think of I think he had a Wisconsin pullover. He took that off, then a Rutgers shirt, took that off, then a Kentucky shirt. Wild move.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to endear yourself to Big Blue Nation. I doubt he even put 2 and 2 together with the Wisconsin fake out and what Wisconsin means to Kentucky fans, but that was pretty awesome. And then I think Rutgers has stolen 3 guys from UK this recruiting cycle, so that was kind of a nice dig too. I think it's great. I love the theatrics of commitment ceremonies. I think it's really fun. I did have a question for Adam. So how many of these commits that we've gotten have been unranked, and how concerned do I need to be about that? I know you said that the staff is kind of taking a big swing on some of these guys, and I've heard you and Nick talk about how it could be a good testing ground for, evaluation, like how the staff is evaluating these guys. They may not necessarily be ranked, but I mean, Josh Allen was a 2-star back in the day, and look at that.
Sure.
So yeah, give me the lowdown on these unranked guys, and are they just like depth adds, or what could they be down the road?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is it's kind of too early to cast type them or grade because you got to see with the class as a whole, and then like what do these kids do as like I'd like to see what they do as kind of their senior year. But yeah, I think there's probably a few. There's a few of them like Cameron Miller's offensive tackle. Like I think he has potential, but you need to see what he can become in 2 years. Max Mooring's kind of the same regards of that linebacker. So I look at it as who are like the no doubters. Who do you feel really good about being players at Kentucky? And I really like Messiah Tilson. Everyone else, it's kind of there's a little bit of projection needed. And so I would say they need to land some more no doubters potentially. I think Dallas Dickerson has a chance to potentially be a no doubter for them if you can get him. I believe Matt Ponatoski at quarterback's a no doubter if you can get him. So they need a couple more of those. But the big thing I want to stress is just that they were the scenario of like, we're in big trouble was on the table. I felt like if this month didn't go well. So I think they've avoided that. And so I think that is a good sign, at least that kind of their new strategy I think they're employing is working to a certain extent, which is they're kind of doing more positional recruiting. Each position coach seems like it's taking more responsibility. And then they're getting guys on campus and they're trying, I think, as a staff collectively trying to close on them. And you're seeing that play out and it works some. Now, whether that works long-term, that's to be determined. But at Kentucky football, you're always going to have to take some swings on guys. And you're always going to have to be early to the party. And your track record with those players is going to determine the success you have. Like you're always going to have De'Eric Jacksons who kind of you were the first guy in on and that you need to hit on. Like Josh Allen's a big one, but you need guys like De'Eric Jackson. De'Eric Jackson, Kentucky was the first team in on. They offered him a scholarship, got him committed. He became a multi-year starter here. And it's not necessarily the player like a star player, but it's a player I think most people know. Like, De'Eric Jackson's a good linebacker. He was a good player for Kentucky. Those are the players you kind of have to hit on consistently, and we'll see if they can hit on them. In some of these more recent recruiting cycles, they haven't hit on those players, and that's something they're going to have to start hit on more moving forward. So it's not just necessarily you got to get these big no doubters that I talked about, but you also have to hit on the guys at the lower half of your class need to be hits, and that's something we'll see if they can do. But to even hit on them, you got to get them in the class. And they didn't have them in the class before then. And so I think the book is still out on what this recruiting class will be, but they've taken, I think, a really big step in the right direction. And they have some momentum. So now let's see what they can do with some of this momentum. And that's something we'll learn here in the next couple of weeks. And then the season starts, and the season can change it, good or bad, once games start happening. Fingers crossed, yes.
From the audience, Finnigo Ham put a screenshot of me on the board that I don't appreciate.
Yeah, I saw it.
But thank you.
Shout out KS Board.
Thank you for watching. Alan on YouTube in the comments says Kentucky football is going to shock. Kentucky football needed a change, so he's staying positive. I hope that means it's a good shock, like they're going to surprise us and win a lot, not literally shock us and give us heart attacks. Same Alan, going back to the Noah discussion, says the enemy can't handle 17 minutes of Trent Noah. Kind of agree with that.
Cute dog. I like Alan's dog.
John wants to know what you know about Katy High School. Lucky, you know anything? Seems to be one of the best in the state.
Darren Fox country.
I've
That's
been
right.
to Katy, Texas.
Look at that. Bunch of Katy experts on here.
See, is Katy, Texas, like, is that Houston adjacent? That's Houston.
Outside Houston.
That's what I thought.
What's that Houston radio show I love that Severe Wheeler went on? Are they near Katy?
Oh,
That's my guy.
man.
Chop Talk? Chop
Oh,
Talk?
Shop Talk, Baby Friday.
I haven't been on there in a while. They're probably on right now. I'm going to leave you all and go check in
Was
on
they-
those
We like
Chop
zoomed him in.
Was that COVID? Was COVID still going on when that was going? I feel like that was
right.
it's right after.
It was either
That
COVID.
big.
No, it was just the Severe Wheeler era of basketball. That's what it was. Speaking of basketball and recruiting, we'll leave football behind. Let you all bottle that excitement back up until we can reopen it soon. Kentucky basketball has a big visitor, maybe not yet on campus. Due here any moment now, but Tay Kinney, a Kentuckian from Newport, Kentucky, top 20 recruit in the 2026 class, is visiting tonight, tomorrow night, leaving Wednesday. What do you do if he gets here at 6? Zach, you go straight to Jeff Ruby's? Do you go somewhere else, kind of ease into it? But it's his official visit, so he's getting the red carpet whenever he shows up. Everyone believes he's considering Louisville and Kentucky. Maybe a slight edge to Louisville. You might know more than I do on that, but that seems to be the consensus around him. But he will be in Lexington soon to start that big visit.
Yeah, you could probably mark Louisville the slight leader in this. He visited there earlier this month, I'm pretty sure, for his official visit. He's also visited Purdue and then has an Oregon trip later. He's going to schedule some other ones as well. He wants to commit by the start of the school year, though. So October-ish, September, somewhere around there, he should probably make his decision. So all these visits that he's taking right now are going to be hugely important. But Kentucky's clearly prioritizing him, as one of their top 3, 4, 5 guys in that 26 class. Darren Rippey's kind of emerged as well as another option in the backcourt there. So it'll be interesting to see how they not necessarily pivot, but I guess approach dealing with both those guys, because you probably don't take both. You probably take one or the other if you can get yourself in that position. And they're kind of a little bit different players as well. But Tay obviously has the Kentucky connections from Newport, played there until his junior year when he transferred down to OT, where he's been ever since. He's like a viral TikTok star for reasons I still like. I don't understand the whole 6'7" thing. I've actively tried to go out and search it and figure out what it means. And videos will be like, this is what it means. And then by the end of the video, you still don't really know what's going on. So that's how I know that I'm entering that phase of my life.
All right, you gotta try to explain the 6'7" thing.
I genuinely can't. Like, I think it was like him and Jasper were like in a video, and like they were trying to talk like, so they were like, okay, like it's between 6 and 7 or something, and Tay goes, oh yeah, 6 or 7, and that's the whole video, and that's what sparked the whole thing. I'm sure it's more complex, Gen Z related than I can explain it to you, but I'm sure they'll do so. He'll do a TikTok while he's here. Be on the lookout for it. I don't know what it'll be about, but it might be a 6'7" related thing. I'm sure he'll hang out with. Well, no, Jasper won't be here, so.
I just think you're talking about a Lil Wayne song. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, my mind keeps going to the 6 foot, 7 foot. Yeah, so. But it's not related to that at all, apparently. So, and I know he just had like a water, like he just dropped a brand of water called 6'7" as well. That's like an exclusive order only thing. So, NIL world's crazy, man. I can't
keep up with all this.
Yeah, all these kids born in the year 2000 on, it's starting to really catch up to me. I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, he's great. He's a really talented player. He's been killing it on the Adidas circuit as well. I get to go watch him next month play down in Rock Hill, so I'm excited to do that with my friend Brandon Ramsey. He was at the USA camp as well. Didn't perform as well as the guys like Jasper and Malachi did, but still to be one of the 30 plus guys invited to that is pretty cool. But he's a really talented player, and it definitely sounds like it's going to be down to Kentucky and Louisville. So this pitch that Kentucky makes over these next 36, 48 hours, whatever it is, will definitely be very important for his overall recruitment. But if you get him, like Kentucky still doesn't have a 26 commit yet, so he would be a great guy to kind of kick things off with if you can. But like I said, with the Darren Rippey recruitment, it'll be very interesting to see how Kentucky chooses to approach those two guys. Because like I said, it'd be a shock if they pick both. You probably try and pick one and pair him with Jalen Lowe in your backcourt next year. So maybe it depends on fit and all that as well, or maybe it's first one that commits gets the spot type thing. So we'll see. But yeah, he'll be here at 6 o'clock, according to our Joe Tipton. So I don't know if that's I don't know if Joe's mapping out the flight trackers or anything. I'm sure someone on KS Board has already figured out what plane he's on and what airline he's using and all that. So we'll know soon. But yeah, these visits always go great. So it'll just be a matter of what does Pope show in his 3-hour film session. I'm sure they're about to do that. Does that really stick out in Tay's mind and change his thinking of where he wants to go to college? So. But
sure, we'll get a photo of him at the airport soon. Yeah, we'll get a photo of him at the airport. I saw Mark Fox and one of the other assistants at the airport when I was there last week. I wanted to take a picture because I just feel like that's what you have to do, seeing UK basketball people.
Not awkward at all.
You mentioned it was like 6 a.m. I was barely awake. That wouldn't have been a fun assignment. You mentioned Jalen Lowe. I was going to ask, how do they recruit a point guard when he's a 2-year guy? Is that in the way? Is that part of the problem?
I wouldn't say a problem, but that's definitely in the conversation with a lot of these kids.
Well, hopefully Lowe works out very well, and he's a star for 2 seasons. But Kenny's certainly one to watch. He'll be here soon, and we'll have all the updates from his campus visit. He can't partake in Country Boy, but another shout out to Country Boy Brewing, our sponsor of the KSR Happy Hour. Hope you all have been enjoying these every Monday at 4 o'clock. Watch while you're at work. Even if your boss tells you to do something, you don't have to tell them you're watching this on YouTube, but, throw in the earbud and just kind of put that spreadsheet for aside. We'll wind down the worst day of the week together. It's been a fun tradition we've started here. I see the graphic that I called out a few weeks ago is at 49.7. It's actually 49.8. We'll get that updated, but 49.8, Tyler, is still not 50.
Oh,
So
we're
what are we
so
gonna do about
close.
this? How do we kick people into gear and pump those numbers up?
So we're
If it's not 50 by SEC Media Days, KSR goes on strike. So if you want
will
KSR
not have any
content,
coverage
you will not have
from
it unless we have 50 K subs.
Also, like I'm looking at the chat, and Finna seems to have explained the 6-7 thing. I don't know if we can pull up his thing. I don't know if that's actually a legit explanation.
I mean, maybe it is, but I would be shocked if that's the answer.
I gotta look at
It'd be
this. Is
really
it on the
funny.
board?
I put it up there on the stream.
Oh, here we go.
Surely not,
I
right?
don't think I like his Coke bottle.
Homium?
logo.
Okay. All right, we're gonna
I
trust.
don't think that's it.
The only
But
TikTok
probably better
trend
guess than I
that
got.
If
I've
Finna knew
accepted
that, I
that
would
on-
be very impressed.
I've accepted that I'm old. I don't need to know 6-7. They can have the trends. I don't need to know all of them. But do you all love the calling people and saying goodnight as much as I do? I'm not too old to love that. Am I the only one that is obsessed with this? Has it landed in your all's algorithm?
I think
My
it's
friends
funny
are
when
too
like
old.
divorced parents of 20 years do it. Like when the kids make their parents who haven't talked to each other in 30 years and hate each other. I do think that's funny, just for my own enjoyment. But no, I guess I'm not as in on it as you are, Drew.
Am I old for liking it? I think it's the greatest
No,
thing ever.
no. Mm-mm.
I
The
think it's
problem
funny
is,
because I've seen some people do it, and I can just envision myself doing that. My friend, he's like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you calling me right now?"
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
about the
like-
reactions. Everyone's so confused because that's not a normal thing to do.
My friends that I would try it with are older than me, and they are so removed from social media that if I even tried to explain the reference, I feel like they would judge me like very harshly. So we
I
haven't
just
tried it
appreciate
yet.
the good night call,
Yeah.
you know?
They would spend the whole next day thinking about that call from last night. Like, why did my friend do that? I don't like. What is?
But Drew,
are they
you said
okay?
you tried this in Mexico.
Oh,
I think
love
we
it.
heard who you called. Who were some of the? Because I know, like, I'm sure Aaron Fleener's got some famous people in his
Yeah,
phone.
I can't remember who all he called. I definitely called Vince Marrow the night before he left for the Louisville gig. Glad he didn't answer. Well, I was asleep in my hotel room at this resort, and the landline starts ringing. I'm like, oh no, what have we done? At this point, my wife's got a broken foot. We've already been to the medical. I'm like, have they called us and something's happened, or did I break something dancing at the Solid Disco? So I pick it up. I'm like, hello, it's just Aaron Fleener. Hey, buddy, just wanted to say goodnight. I was like, okay, we got to stop doing this. We have to stop doing this. I think it's the greatest trend ever, though. Maybe Tay Kinney can start doing it with his friends. Try to make it cool. Or maybe I'm just old.
You should try the 6-7 trend then.
I'm going to call you all. You all get ready.
I'll answer.
Maybe we'll make Steven will make a video of me just calling people and telling them goodnight.
It'd be great. Like you could call and like remind people to watch KSR Happy Hour. Like,
There we
good
go.
night. Yeah, don't forget to tune in on Monday. I know it's just Wednesday, but I just want
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Maybe I'll flip it and I'll call people early in the morning and say, hey, rise and shine. Just want to say good morning. I like that. The Thunder said goodnight to the Pacers last night. How's that
Nice
transition
segue.
there?
Good
Yeah.
segue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I thought we were going to have an exciting Game 7. Halliburton looked like he might just have one more in him, but then he suffered that awful Achilles injury early in the game. You could see it in slow-mo. You could see it pop. Hard to watch. I was a neutral observer just wanting to have a good game and not a 30-point blowout. And in that moment, I think we all kind of knew it was over. Pacers hung in there for a little while. TJ McConnell somehow looked like Michael Jordan there in the second quarter. He looks like my created player on 2K out there, but just still getting buckets. But in the end, it's Shea and Cason Wallace getting it done, putting a ring on Shea in his historic season. Was anyone out there for the Pacers? Were we all rooting for Shea? Anybody? Were we all Team Thunder? I know, Zach, you were rooting for a different team earlier in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
I assume we're all happy for the two former Cats.
Yeah, you got to root for Shea. I mean, I just keep thinking every time I watch him, and he's became the fourth player in NBA history to sweep the regular season MVP, Finals MVP, and the scoring title, and all in the same season. I think it's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Shaquille O'Neal. And now Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who is the lowest ranked recruit in that 2016, 2017 recruiting class, I forget. I mean, it's just crazy. And he started only 2/3 of the games that season. He was backing up Quade Green. Like, what a crazy life. I'm so happy for him. And I think all the videos and stuff I watched open up Instagram this morning, and his family title photo shoot was up, and his little kid was there playing with the trophy. It was very, very cute. I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, all the numbers we're seeing are just first since this, joining the small club of, 11 all time that have won the MVP championship and finals MVP. Now there's the debate of is he the best Kentucky player in the NBA? If he's not now, he's on his way because they are not done. Did I see they have 4 first-round draft picks, Zach?
Yeah.
Wow.
They have 1,000 piled
Come
up.
on.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Presti's put Shea in a position to build a potential dynasty out there. So we'll see if it keeps rolling. But it was really fun to watch them play last night.
It does not feel like the end of Shea doing big things like winning the championship. I think he's going to have a few rings here in due time. One team that might stand in his way is the Houston Rockets. Now, I was looking at the odds before we hopped on. Thunder, the favorite to win next year, but the Rockets are just 3 slots behind them now that the Slim Reaper has joined Reed Sheppard in Houston. 2 years ago, Adam Luckett, when Reed Sheppard was putting away his North Laurel jersey to get ready for his dream season at UK, the little boy that wanted to be a Wildcat just 2 summers ago, if I had told you he was the 3rd overall pick and playing for a title contender with Kevin Durant, was there any chance you would have believed me?
No. But I also wouldn't believe I would see Reed in an Arkansas shirt either. So
Oh, man.
Oh, you part of that crowd?
I'm just kidding. But
That is cool that Houston did not want to deal with Reed Sheppard. Of all the great pieces on that team, very young, talented team that was expected to do better than they did this past season in the postseason. But a lot of pieces they could have moved and kept, and they said, do not touch Reed Sheppard. It says a lot about his future there. Not as nearly as a crowded backcourt as it was in his freshman season.
Yeah, just for him alone, just to be on a team, to be that high of a pick and be on a good team right away is that doesn't happen in the NBA. It's very unlikely. So, he
Speaking
goes
of,
from
Kentucky.
what were they, the 2 seed this year out in the West, Zach? I believe they were the 2.
Yeah, they were the 2 seed, and then Rob went to the Timberwolves. They were the 4 seed.
Yeah, so
Neither
they're
of
going to
those
be
guys got to play.
his first. I mean, they'll be a title contender again. I mean, first 2 years they're legitimate top 10 team in the NBA, probably top 5. That doesn't happen.
Is Reed going to be running the point?
Yeah, tomorrow's his 21st birthday, FYI. Happy early birthday, Reed, if you're watching. You'll be able to cheers with a country boy legally. I'm sure he's probably had some before, but
well, I'm not going to assume. Perfect boy, Reed, country boy.
He's very wholesome.
Never
He
did
would have
anything
milk probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm already in disbelief at what Reed Sheppard has done, like everyone else. But I feel like we're on track to Reed Sheppard running point in an NBA Finals series with Kevin Durant by his side, which will just really make that skull explode more than it already has, unless your Cavs can get in the way, Zach.
I hope so. The Rockets have said there was a report that came out earlier this month that they're going to really rely on Reed this year to kind of fast track his development a little bit. So that was before the whole Kevin Durant saga unfolded, but they shipped out Dylan Brooks, shipped out Jalen Green, so there should be more room for him to actually play, and that's just all he needs right now. He just needs time to get on the floor. So he obviously won't be the center of attention with a guy named Kevin Durant handling the ball, and then but the Rockets, I mean, the Thunder is still the champs, but Houston will probably go into next season as the number 2 in that conference. I don't know how much Reed will actually play or what his role will be, but they say they're going to. It was actually funny when I was at the North Laurel camp on Friday night. Jeff Sheppard was there, and I asked, I was like, "It's like, so when are they going to play Reed?" And this is before the whole KD thing. So I wonder if he knew. Maybe he knew ahead of time. Did he have a little hint? He's like, "Hey, KD's coming. Like, maybe keep an eye on the Rockets this year." But he didn't say anything like that.
I'm ready for the moment KD hits a big three and he points, and he and Stacy Sheppard just kind of give each other like a. I feel like they're going to get along great. Tyler, you want to go on the record?
Pairing of people, yes.
Tyler, you want to go on the record right now in 2 days? How many Kentucky Wildcats will be drafted in the NBA draft?
Ooh, I'm going to go 2, just Kobe Bryant and Amari Williams, but I really want Jackson to be the 3rd. So Jackson Robinson, Zach, you talked to Jay Billis, who said that he believes that Jackson will get drafted. Yeah. That would make me so happy because, as we all know, Jackson turned down being in the NBA draft last year to come follow Mark Pope to Kentucky. And last year he was projected to be drafted. I think he was a solid 2nd round pick, but maybe wanted to be in the 1st round, if I recall. So it would just be so great if he was drafted this year. It would make me very happy. So.
Yeah, but Jackson, I guess he didn't get cleared from his injury until not last week, but the week before. So he spent all last week loading up on pre-draft interviews. He was with the Warriors on the 17th or the 18th. So last Wednesday, he was with the Warriors, and he said he had 5 other. One of my Cavs worked him out as well. They've got 2 2nd round picks. That's all I'm gonna say. So keep an eye out for them. But so he's been trying to shove all these pre-draft interviews or workouts and interviews right at the very last second. But even if he doesn't get picked, he'll get quick on a 2-way contract. Justin Edwards did the same thing. He didn't get drafted, got scooped up pretty fast, worked his way into a regular standard contract on a good fit. So if you go undrafted, you can kind of pick and choose a little bit more of where you want to go, and it makes things a little bit easier. But you'd obviously rather get drafted. But I'd say he probably doesn't. Probably just falls out the outside there. But Kobe, it sounds like Kobe could go in the 30s, early 2nd round. And then Amari, it's kind of a crapshoot. He could go anywhere. But I do think Amari gets drafted, which would be awesome, just for me personally as a big Amari fan.
I said 2 nights. I guess it's 3 nights that they divided up now. I don't think we're going to have any first-rounders on Wednesday night. Luckett, Pope could have more draft picks than John Calipari. Would you have believed that last summer?
No. That would be no. But it's a different world, too, because of NIL. So Boogie Fland is going back to school, even though it's not to play for Cal, but that would never happen in the previous kind of era that we were in. So it's different now.
Well, the only reason Amari might get drafted is because guys like Boogie Fland came back to school.
Right.
Dozens of these 2nd rounders, international and college kids, all came. I mean, probably 50 extra kids that normally would try and put their way into the draft to get 2-way contracts. Right. All of them went back to school, Otega being one of them as well. So once all those kids went back, Amari's name suddenly started shooting up. Not necessarily because of what he's been doing in the pre-draft, but because there's no one else out there. So, but people they are high on Amari. Jonathan Givony of ESPN, he held a little media call thing earlier today. And he basically just said that, all these guys say that there's a spot for Amari Williams. Just look at Isaiah Hartenstein, just won a finals yesterday, being kind of in that same mold of a non-shooting, spacing big man who just comes in and plays 15, 20 minutes of good basketball and can go all out. And then by the time you're exhausted, you let the main guy come in. So there's definitely a world for Amari Williams to play. And he got, honestly, the NIL stuff is probably going to be the reason he gets drafted because everyone else above him has decided to play college basketball again.
How was Hartenstein's baby asleep during that celebration last night? Did you all see that? That's impressive. That's some impressive sleeping.
I did see that. Yeah, you gotta be extra tired. We've all been that tired before, though, So I don't blame.
Oh yeah. Well, Wednesday night's the draft. Then Thursday's when it'll really matter in the 2nd round for the Kentucky guys. Maybe Kobe surprises us in the back end of the first round.
Wouldn't shock me. Keeps shooting up. So
our guy Adam Luckett is an expert on mini drafts. Has been to the NFL draft, covered for KSR. He also liked an ice cold beer, which brings us to my favorite topic on our list of topics today over there on the beautiful timeline, is ranking beers. Luckett found a new favorite beer, I believe, this past weekend. I'll let you tell the story, but you have a new deck that you built by hand. You're out there with a hammer You had the nails, you had the level, you had all the things you need.
Drew had a cooler of beer, I had a hammer, and I had nails and wood, and somehow I made a deck.
Because you're a man. You had a big weekend, but you wrote on the board that the first beer on your new back porch is high on your beer rankings.
Yes.
Walk us through this discovery.
Yeah, so my wife and I finally decided to put a deck or a back porch deck on our house. So once it was made, it was like, oh, now I realize why people like this. This is pretty. This is pretty cool. So that to me, like the first beer really on any like big adult purchase. So like if you buy a house, the first beer in your new house, the first beer when you do some big project, that one, that's a good beer. So I have to say that one is up there on my hierarchy of beers. If I have to rank them, that one would definitely be in the top 10. It's probably in the top 5 for sure.
Nice.
Is it up there with Neighborhood Roosters beer after a long day of working?
It is, but the thing about these beers is they're like prevalent beers, so you get to have them all the time. And sometimes the best beers are beers you don't get to have. So as I sat down to think about this, I was like, the first beer after a road trip. So like if you're going out of town for a weekend, maybe like going to a SEC game, as we get to do sometimes with this job, like that first beer on Friday night in a college town is a pretty sweet beer. Like if you get to like, maybe it's a wedding, maybe it's a birthday party, maybe it's just something randomly, but like you get to see friends you don't get to see in a while or see all the time anymore. Like that beer, whether it's a round of golf or whatever, that's a pretty sweet beer. So those are probably 2 of my favorite beers right now would be the road trip beer. And then get to see your friends you haven't seen in a little bit, that beer. And then obviously like the first vacation beer and one of my all time will be a favorite beer is like the first tailgate beer of the year, football season. That's always
a
really
good one. Yeah.
I've had this debate many times, including with Max Duffy on our KSR road trip to Seattle. We really got in the weeds naming, what would you call it? It's like situational beers because it's not an actual beer. Country Boy's our favorite. Country Boy's our favorite beer. There used to be one here. Shout out Country Boy. But situational beers, number one for me, and it won't be topped. And I've had one recently, and I'm about to have one Saturday. Is the Vacation Departing an Airport beer. I don't care. You all might judge me and call it alcoholism. I don't care if it's 6 a.m. when I'm about to board a flight for a vacation. I need a beer because that beer almost signals I'm parked, I'm checked in, we're here. I can't change anything. Trip's about to happen. I'm closing the book on my past life, and this beer is starting the chapter of my vacation. So unequivocally, number one for me is airport departure beer.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. And I love airport bars because, like you said, you could go in at 6 a.m. and people will have beers.
Not
they will
frowned
have
upon.
Bloody Marys. They will, and no judgment. Like you'll see more alcohol than you will coffee, which is just crazy. Oh. Yeah, easily. Airport beer is a great beer. I got to bring in like boat beer, lake beer, beach beer. Any beer by a large body of water is automatically high on that list for me. Pool beers are good. One more I had, let's see. I haven't done this in a long time, but shower beers were pretty fun back in college. Shower beers were great.
A lot of people like shower beers.
Yep.
Once you get to a certain age and we're all there, you probably shouldn't really be doing shower beers. Yeah, that's more of
have like a grab bar on the side.
That's more like said college getting ready to tailgate.
Vacation shower beers are fine on vacation.
There you go.
I probably had a shower beer this calendar year. I don't remember exactly, but occasionally you got to tap back in and make sure you're still able to do a shower beer. Zach, you got any situational beers you enjoy? Or anyone in the chat, let us know in the chat also.
Yeah.
The airport beer is definitely my favorite one. Like I'm not a huge beer guy, but like I do love like a 7 a.m. Bluegrass airport beer when I'm just going to some random, Mississippi, like Starkville or something, like the most obscure places that you're going to. Definitely love an airport beer. It's like a tradition between Jack and I. Whenever we are going on our little trips, you got to send a picture of the airport beer to one another, and that signifies, the start of whatever trip or vacation you're going on. So
I've never been happier to give someone $18 for draft IPA than I am in an airport. That's one of those places. I'm not rich, but they can charge me whatever they want in an airport for
Money
beer,
doesn't
and I'm
exist at that
paying it.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is money? Yes.
Don't care. The vacation's just starting, so we haven't blown through the budget yet. We're not even thinking about money at that moment. We worry about that for like the backing of the vacation. I said, nothing's stopping you. You're already checked in. Everything's put away. I'm having this beer, whether it's $18 or $58. I'm getting that airport beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a Blue Moon for my airport beer specifically.
Ooh,
I don't know why,
fancy.
but just a Blue Moon. The Blue Moon hits differently when I'm at the airport.
The big orange slice on the pint glass.
It's like I'm in a commercial. It feels like, so maybe that's why.
My other favorite, and I have to have it no matter the circumstances. There's no getting out of it. When I get done mowing, I have a cold beer waiting. In fact, when I blow off my little trimmings, clean the sidewalk, I won't even get my leaf blower until I've opened the beer and I have it in one hand and leaf blower in other. Even if I don't want a beer, it can be a Monday at 3:00 and I have no interest in a beer. When I roll that mower, put it away, and I get ready to blow off the driveway and the sidewalk, there will be a beer in hand. No matter if I have something to do that night, no matter what's going on, gotta have the just got done in the lawn beer.
Giving some Hank Hill vibes with that scenario right there.
What about grilling beers? Grilling beers are great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Gotta have a
beer
beer
while
while
you
you're
grill is
grilling.
outstanding. I like the beer, Drew, while you're waiting on the Airbnb to pick you up for a night out on the town. That is a fun, because it's kind of similar to the
wait on
airport
Uber?
beer. Yeah. Or yeah, I meant Uber. Sorry.
Yeah,
not
I don't know what
Airbnb.
kind of Airbnbs you get. That sounds awesome.
That's
Yeah.
a fancy
Maybe
name.
Airbnb needs to have a taxi service. But yeah, waiting on the Uber or Lyft before a night out on the town, that beer, that's a fun beer because it's like the kickoff
Yeah.
the night, like something you're looking forward to. If you're getting an Uber, typically it's something you've planned in advance to go somewhere. So that is a fun situational beer for me.
We gotta quit doing all this beer talk on Mondays. I mean, we can't because we love doing the 4:00 happy hour, but you got me wanting another beer, and I can't be having beers on Mondays at 5 forever. I think maybe the KSR happy hour, it should be ranked among the situational beers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
4:00 on a Monday, sponsored by Country Boy Brewing. Thanks to everyone who joined us today. We're at 49.8. Oh, I didn't notice Steven even updated the graphic on the fly. Good job back there, Steven. We're going to have that at 50 by next week. If not, like Luggett said, we're all going on strike. You all can do this your damn self. We'll be out drinking lots of Country Boy beers if we're not at 50, but we're going to get there. Thanks for helping us get this far at 49.8. We're always trying new things on YouTube, including this. We're loving doing it. Got all the shows. Watch Luckett, Zach, Jack, Nick, Jacob, all of us. Everybody's doing something on there, whether it be football, basketball, recruiting. We try to stay busy with content throughout the summer. So thanks for always being a part of that. And keep watching us on KentuckySportsRadio.com. Right now, go watch Zach's interview with Denzel Aberdeen and Jax with Mo Diabate. I'll be watching that myself. We'll cover that on the website. But it's been another fun Monday. Next week, I'm gone again. I'm going hiking.
Good for you. I just said that. Hiking beers are great beer.
You know, the hiking trip was really, really great. We've had it planned for a year. My wife breaking her foot last week has been a bit of a curveball on the hiking trip, but we're still going to go. I don't know if we'll just be
How's
sitting.
that going to work?
Yeah, I think she might be sitting in the travel center next to the big thing of brochures while I hike. But
No.
next week, Tyler, I guess you'll be driving the happy hour show.
Yeah, it's July 4th week next week. We'll be ready to roll.
Tune in
Do
with Tyler.
we want to save our KS Sport questions for then?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to wrap it up. Let's do a few questions. Sorry, come back to us. Forget I was saying bye. My bad.
There you go.
Knock a few of these out. That is so small.
SGA and Wallace earned a ring last night. What are the chances that Cat can win one with the Knicks, assuming he is still on the team next season? The East is riddled with injuries. Achilles tears from Tatum and Halliburton are brutal. So basically, I think he's asking, what kind of chances do you give the Knicks and Karl Anthony Towns to win a championship?
That feels like a
next
Zach
year?
question.
Yeah, that's for Zach. Zach loves the East.
Yeah, they should hire a head coach first to be a
Can Jalen Brunson be the best team player on a title team? Is the real question here.
Probably not. And
Yeah,
that's
where
probably
I'm at.
can't either as well. So I don't know. They got a lot of questions to deal with. So there was some talks of maybe potentially moving Cat, and then they fire out Thibs. So I don't know. The Cavs are going to be the best team in the East next year. Even if they sit and do nothing, just because everything else around them is
Right.
poo-poo. The Magic will be better next year because they just got Desmond Bane. The Pistons will be good next year. I mean, I'm sure the Knicks will be fine, but I can't see the Knicks honestly ever winning a championship.
The only thing they're missing is John Vincent Calipari. That's what will unlock their championship potential.
Yes. Wow.
Westpher Robin added tailgate beer in the Rupp Arena parking lot. So he's not even tailgating for football, tailgating for basketball. That's a good beer.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to do my. You ready, Steven? Next question.
It's like the YouTube TV. It just you're a little bit behind here. Just
if Hollywood made a movie of your life, who would want to play you and why? Tyler, you get to go first.
I mean, if I get to pick the person I want to play me, it'd be Connie Britton, because Tammy Taylor from Friday Night Lights is like my idol. I think I'm more of like a Tina Fey probably person, but if I get to pick, it would be Connie Britton.
I see Tina Fey. Tina Fey would make a good Miss Tyler Thompson.
A little older than me, but I'll take it.
Have you seen the Four Seasons?
Yes, it is
great
so
in that.
good. It is really, really good.
Luckett, who's playing you? Which Hemsworth is playing Adam Luckett?
No Hemsworth. I would want it to be a comedy. I would want it someone who could be natural talking about football and drinking cold beer. So Shane Gillis. Likes college football, drinks beer, he's funny. So let's just do Shane Gillis. He drinks Bud Light. So all you beer shamers on KS4 can eat it.
I could see a good Shane Gillis filling in for Adam Luckett on 11 personnel if you're ever on vacation.
Not very many people could play a blogger and do it well.
It's true.
So you'd have to have some comedy flexibility. So I give me Shane Gillis. I think he could pull it off.
We need some young Hollywood, best looking alive person for Zach. Who's your
Rami Malek?
Who's your doppelganger?
So when I was back in my BHG days, shout out Drew.
Shout out.
When I worked at Sal's long ago, RIP. I had some coworkers who said I looked like a actor named Valentin Trujillo. So you can do your Googling if you want.
No, I never heard of that name. You could be making that up.
It's not going to be an actor that you're familiar with, I'm sure, or any of us. But I remember Googling him and looking him up, and at the time when I was like 20 or whatever it was, I probably did look a little bit like him. So I don't know if he's any good or not, but that would be my one answer. Unless
did you say Danny Trejo? You don't look like Danny Trejo.
No, not him. Valentin
it's gotta be Rami
Trujillo.
Malek.
Or Rami Malek.
I would like to watch Danny Trejo play a young Zach Gagnon. That would be fun.
Malek. Yeah,
him and in the KSR movie, Shane Gillis, Danny Trejo, Connie Britton,
Tina Fey, the great Motley
Crue. Plays Nick Roush. Who plays Steve Carell? Play Nick Roush.
Roush is definitely Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
No. He's a Paul Giamatti guy.
I was thinking like Louis C.K. or something like that.
Louis C.K. would be fun.
Paul Giamatti would nail it as Nick Roush.
On stilts. Paul Giamatti on stilts, yes.
I'll be Michael B. Jordan. He can be Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's if you have a beard, everyone just says you look like someone with a beard. So I'll be any actor with a beard. We got one more, Steven. Oh, look at that.
Here we go.
I got it. I'm on my phone again, so one of you have to read that. It's too small.
What is the temperature, either hot or cold, where you just don't go outside? So Andrew says, my wife and I are opposite. She's like a lizard and loves it when it's 100 degrees. For me, give me a crisp day in the 40s any day.
The 40s and 100 is not comparable. That's not comparable. You gotta do that's like 40 and 80 would be more of a comparison there.
Too hot for me is like 87 and above. Like, especially if you add in humidity, probably like 85. Yeah, like it's just miserable outside right now. Too cold, probably like 32 degrees or lower. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'll go with Tyler. I'd compare it to like, what would I be fine with? like what would not inhibit my run? Like if
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a run, like what would not inhibit it? Like you start
80,
getting over
remember.
85 in humid, that's like I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Cold, what is too like what is a hoodie's not enough? Kind
Yeah.
of if you're gonna be outside for a long time.
If you have to put on gloves and a hat, it's too cold.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have to wear 2 layers, like if you have to wear the hoodie and the big jacket, then yeah. So to me, it's like, what can you do a run in would be kind of how I would judge it. 40 is kind of right, but 85, anything over 85, you're probably, and you're wanting to do, wanting to spend time outside, anything above that is probably a no-go unless it's a cool event, like unless you're doing something, whether going to a game or playing some golf so yeah, it has to be a special occasion.
Yeah, I'm in that same line of thinking with Adam, where it's so I don't have like a backyard or anything, so we have to go out and walk the dogs several times a day. So my thing is, would I rather walk the dogs in 100 degrees or 0 degrees? And it's going to be 100 degrees every single time, even though they hate either one of them. But I don't have to put on 1,000 different clothing items and put their little boots on and stuff as well, because there's ice on the ground and stuff like that. So I always choose 100 degrees over 0 degrees, even though both are pretty miserable. But I want to be able to at least step outside. So I can step outside in 100 degrees. 0 degrees, not really.
I'm not
We've
taking
had some
Adam's
0 degree
approach.
winters here lately.
I'm not running, Adam, so no temperature is getting me outside to run. I recently just decided I have run for the last time in my life. I will live, barring being chased by someone with a knife. I have run for the last time in my life. It's pretty comfortable knowing that these legs won't ever have to pick up speed again.
What if young Drew Franklin turns into Alan Cutler at some point and has to chase a coach?
Ooh.
Nope, not doing.
You gonna do
That coach is,
Chase
they're getting
Dukes
away.
down the alley.
Billy Gillespie would still be the coach at UK on the run if I had to be Alan Cutler. I wouldn't have chased him. He would have just been out the door. I mowed when it was right at 90 a few days ago when this first started. That wasn't fun. I don't recommend doing that. I have a small yard. That one beer, though, that post-mow beer, it was on my brain the whole time. That's all. It was like the carrot just dangling out there waiting for me. So I'm with Tyler. Somewhere I'd say 84.5 is about it for me. Was that the last question? I think it was.
That's it.
One more.
That's
All right, they're gone. They're gone. We're gone. Next week, Tyler will run the show. We don't know who she'll have with her yet. Whoever's around the office, they'll hop on. Probably lots more football news. Maybe Matt Ponatoski will be close to committing or have already committed. Hell, maybe Tay Kinney commits. Who knows? He should be on campus any moment now. I actually have to get to the airport right now to get in the bushes to get a photo for the website. But for our second attempt at a goodbye, thank you all for joining us. I won't do the whole thing again, but we appreciate y'all following along all the time. Shout out to Country Boy Brewing and to Tyler, Adam, and Zach for joining me today. It was another fun happy hour. We'll be back next Monday at 4 o'clock. Go Cats.